Hi, my name is Pavel Bremensky, so this is great pronunciation, thank you. I came all the way from Canada. This is my first time at MicroConf, and I'm really stoked. It feels like a great place to be and right place to be. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here and for also letting me speak to you. There are a lot of talented and smart people here in the audience, so it's an absolute honor to be able to speak to you for me. So I'm going to talk about how do you start a SaaS business, especially when you're right at the beginning. You have completely no idea, or you may have an idea, but you don't know if it's any good. You haven't picked the market, for example, or if you have picked the market, you don't know if it's you don't have any connections within this market, and you can only use very basic tools like, for example, Excel, phone, or email, right? And this topic is really important for me, and I'm extremely passionate about this because I probably failed so many times at starting a SaaS business in the past. I've run a SaaS business in enterprise space. We're selling predictive analytics solutions to insurance companies, so I have some experience about that I'll be sharing. And also I went through a program called The Foundation last year, which was extremely useful. And I'm in the process of starting my new SaaS right now, as we speak. So I'm going to share some of my experiences. So my goal is basically if I can help even a handful of you to help you with, save you some frustration, some time, and some money when you are starting your new SaaS business, that would be a huge win for me. All right, so a couple of things about this talk. It's definitely not a fully bulletproof idea for success. It may not work for you. It may not work for your market, but it definitely, I'll offer some practical advice, and it allowed me to basically focus on completely new market for me with completely no existing connections to that market and go pretty quickly to 7 customers before the application was created. All right, so how do you find those good business ideas, right? So first of all, you want to focus really on the target market. Even if you have an existing idea, you need a target market because you need somebody to sell to, right? Target market is really a set of people or businesses with similar characteristics. Then you want to contact the market, and you are looking for the most painful, unsolved or poorly solved problems. And once you found the problem, what you want to do, you want to validate if this is the right problem for you to be pursuing before you actually start building the solution. And then once you pre-sell the solution to a couple of customers, then you can start developing the smallest solution, then you can actually launch it. So, okay, you have no market, how do you start? Well, you can just list of the industries that you're interested in. And you can go to Wiki, you can go to Google as well. You can go to a site called referenceusa.com. There's a lot of information about US and Canadian businesses there. The criteria that I used, I wanted to at least have between 2,000 and 5,000 businesses in my market. And the reason is because I didn't want to run out very quickly of prospects to sell to. In my previous business, we were selling to insurance companies, and unfortunately in Canada, there are only about 150 of them, so we very quickly ran down to their list. We didn't have anybody else, so we need to change our strategy a little bit, right? The other thing is affinity. Patrick McKenzie mentioned that if you don't like the market you're in, you should probably not go into this market. You don't have to love it, but my advice would be don't hate it, because you're going to spend at least a couple of years building your company, right? So if the market you're in or you're thinking about is not really exciting to you, don't do it. And the ideal markets are really niche or very small. Because why? Because they're underserved. No big competitor is going to actually enter this market. And for this method to work, this market has to be contactable. Email and phone is the minimum. Twitter, LinkedIn would work well as well. All right, so you've have the market, then what do you next? You want to create even just a simple list of businesses, and it can be just Excel list of businesses. You need the name of the person and email, phone, and the website URL is useful as well. And then you want to send them an email and just say, hey, I'm doing a study on the market, and I'm looking for the for the biggest challenges or most painful problems in the business that you experience on a day-to-day basis. Do you mind speaking with me for 20 minutes? And that's it. You can just state your name, put your contact information there so they can actually call you or email you if they want. Happened to me, I sent an email, a guy called me 5 minutes later, we have great conversation. And then some people will say no, of course, but some people will say yes. So then schedule some follow-up phone calls with them. And important thing is on those calls, just talk to them. What kind of challenges or problems do you have in your business? What keeps you up at night, right? What things do you want to improve? What kind of internal projects do you have right now on improving on something within your business. An important thing is here, you actually have to, once you ask the question, just shut up and let them talk. The longer you will be able to wait until you start interrupting them, the more valuable information you will be able to find from them. And once you understand that they really have a problem, and you understand this problem quite well, you can actually ask them a question, which is the wave the magic wand question. And it's a really magical question because you can just tell them, ask them, well, if you could wave the magic wand, what your solution would look like, right? And very often they will tell you exactly what they want, right? So the first mindset shift here is that the best ideas don't come from you, they come from your market, right? The same way Joanna said that the best marketing doesn't come from you, it comes from your customers. It's the same thing here, right? The best ideas come from your customers. And the other thing is, the second mindset shift here is that those customers exactly know what they want. Sometimes, and the solutions that they will tell you what they want, with a little bit of tweaking, you can actually start implementing that. So you don't have to even think about the solution. You can be given the solution by your target market, right? So okay, you've talked to the market. You have a couple of problems. What you want to find, what you want to focus on, you want to list, of course, all those different problems, and you want to focus on the most painful, the least complex, which is the fastest to implement, and also the ones that offers the highest value for the customer. And why? Because the solutions to those kind of problems are the easiest to sell. And then before you start developing, before you start writing the first line of code, you want to actually sell your non-existing product to a couple of prospects. So how do you do that? Well, you got to schedule a phone call with them, tell them that you're excited about solving this problem, and tell them, first explain the problem. Well, tell them what the problem is, as you heard it from them, make sure they understand it. You can even agitate the problem a little bit because it will motivate them to look for a solution. And then talk to them about the solution. Talk to them how the solution will actually make their life better. And once you get the confirmation from them, then ask them to buy it. And you can tell them, well, I'm looking for, you can be honest, you can tell them I'm looking for 3 to 5 people, once I have 3 to 5 people, then actually I'll be building the solution, right? And very often they will say yes. So this is great, you found one person, then go and repeat with a couple of people. One is not enough, 3, 4, 5, and up, then this is, it's getting much better. And then you can start developing your product. So here's an example. I got a personal check from a lady that is thousands of miles away from me. She has never seen me. We exchanged a couple of emails, a couple of conversations. She had a painful problem. I offered to solve it. She sent me a check, personal check for $600. So it works. So why pre-selling is such a powerful concept, why I like it? Because when you're starting a company, you're going from the problem, then you're looking at developing the solution, you're building the product or service, you're marketing and selling, right? So with pre-selling, what you can do, you can shorten the cycle, because building and marketing can take you months or years, and sometimes you may give up and you may never ship the product, like some other people said before, right? So with pre-selling, you can actually do this cycle very quickly. With a little bit of a practice, you can try a couple of different ideas, and you can achieve it within half-an-hour conversation. So it dramatically reduces the risk for you. All right, conferences. Conferences are amazing, especially trade shows or industry conferences. Why? Because the pace of learning is incredible. You learn so quickly about the people in the industry, about the trends, generally about the industry, right? So, and then you also get the rapid feedback from the people. If you are even working on a couple of ideas, you can actually, you can validate it very quickly, right? You can have multiple conversations within one day. And I think conferences are great because they attract the right crowd. They are attracting people who want to learn more about their industry. They want to know what their peers are up to. As you know, Jeffrey Moore crossing the chasm, you are actually picking the early adopters. These are the right people for you to be talking to. So by going to a conference, you're actually pre-qualifying your audience. And follow up with them after the conference, because you can learn a little bit more. And I think smaller is better. As MicroConf is just about 200 to 120 people, those smaller conferences offer you this high collision rate, which is basically you are bumping into the same people several times, which is useful because you're building relationships. And those relationships will be super useful later on, because those people will introduce you to their friends, colleagues in business. They'll help you market your product. They'll tell you why your website doesn't look the way it should. So focus on building those relationships. It's really useful. So specifically what didn't work for me, I was lucky to get the chairman of the association who was one of the customers. I was reaching out to other people within the association, and I asked her if I could use her name. She said, fine. I sent an email. The response rate was quadruple. So a lot more people wanted to talk to me. And get specific. If you're not getting the right quality answers that you're expecting, ask more specific questions, right? You can ask, instead of what is the problem that you're dealing with or what you're struggling with in your business, you can ask, okay, what about the sales? What about when you're delivering the product or service to your customers, right? You can be much more specific with that, and you will get better answers. And get personal. As I said, it's fine to talk, to treat them even as friends on the call, because they will be much more willing to share more information with you. Recording the calls was extremely useful for me. I'm one of those people that I can either pay attention to what somebody else is saying, or I can take notes, but I cannot do two things at the same time. So I was able to record the phone calls, and then I was able to take detailed notes after the call, and that was super useful too. And stay in touch with them. One person said no initially when I was trying to actually pre-sell him. 2 months later, I got an email from him saying, hey, I'm in, send me an invoice. So here are my stats. Within one market that I picked, completely new, I just sent 174 emails over 10 weeks, so it was completely part-time effort for me. I was running another company at the same time, so I was pretty busy. And from those 174 emails, I was able to get to 32 people, which led to 52 conversations. And I found 8 potential business ideas. I picked one, and I was able to sell 7 people, and we're at the point right now that we can actually start scaling. We have the solution that's proven, and we can attract more people. All right, so I think there was one slide missing here, but it's fine. All right, so I think there was one slide missing from the presentation, but thank you very much. I really enjoyed meeting you, and if you have any questions specific about this topic, talk to me later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.